Hey everybody, welcome to CresTV, your regular catch-up from all things Crestron and what's going on in the UC industry. And what's going on at Crestron in the UC industry is two letters and a number. VC4 is what we're going to be talking about on today's show. And I have got a Crestron, a legend. I was going to say veteran, but he doesn't look old enough. Let me bring out our guest today, Tuan. Tuan, how are you doing over there?
I'm doing great, Neil. Nice to meet you. Excited to be on CresTV.
It's very, very cool to have you. Now, I said veteran in the politest possible way. How long have you been at Crestron here?
I've been at Crestron for almost 20 years now.
Almost.
So yeah,
Do you get like
almost.
a plaque at 20 years? Is that how it goes?
I don't know, actually. I haven't paid attention to that. That's really not what I'm about. But
And you've been in, so your kind of specialist subject, if you're on a pop quiz here, would be control systems. So 20 years of control systems, things have changed, I'm guessing, radically over 20 years. Tell us about where things were 20 years ago and where we kind of are today.
yeah, I started at Crestron, almost 20 years ago, actually in the quality engineering department testing control systems, and it was
Wow.
all about RS-232 and RS-485 connections, and that is something that we've seen going away, right? So about 15 years ago, I moved over to product management, and I've been in charge of Crestron control ever since. So yeah, we've been seeing the shift right from physical control to Ethernet control, where devices don't even have RS-232 ports or IR, don't even need an IR emitter anymore. So the days of, sticking that IR probe in front of your television are gone, right? We have CEC control and Ethernet control. So it's a wonderful world, which really enables us to kind of move into the software world.
Those days of the tech guy going out to the cabinet and the double-sided sticky tape in the heat and the
Yeah,
cabinet has fallen off and the
right.
IR blaster's sort of hanging off the thing and that's why it's not working. Those days are kind of gone, I'm guessing.
Yeah, mostly. There's still some devices out there, right? And we have devices and products out there that help you control it. I think every NVX that we sell has RS-232 and IR still on it for those devices that need it. But Ethernet and CEC is really where it's at.
So as I said in the opening, we're talking about VC4, two letters and a number. What is VC for the Luddites and the new boys that haven't been here 20 years? Talk to me about VC4, what it is and where it's come from and where we are with it.
Yeah, so VC4 stands for virtual control, and it is really a software-based solution, right? So it's taking our RMC4 or CP4 and making it a software. Of course, we couldn't just take what we did on the small appliances and move it into a software installer, right? Like, yes, we could have, but that wouldn't have been the right solution, because by moving it to software, we all of a sudden scaling up from a small appliance-based device to a large, powerful server. So we had to re-architect several parts of our control system in such a way that it would scale up, right? On a CP4, you can load 10 programs. On VC4, on a full server, you can load 500 programs. If you had to load
Wow.
those manually, that'd be quite painful. So we actually made it where you can load the program once and then just start it 500 times, either by clicking next, or by using a REST API and fully automating it. So it has shifted quite a bit.
And yeah, this is in the days of all these kind of rumors and this noise around problems on shipping and availability of product. This is software. It's shipping today. It's available today. It's in the warehouses or on the CDs on the download page. You can get this today. There's no issues with regards to availability around VC4.
That's correct. We've been shipping VC4 since 2018. And actually, what
Hmm.
I think is one of the coolest things is when you download VC4, it will run for 90 days without needing anything, right? You can
Wow.
actually download it, install it, and give it a good try and make sure that it works for you before committing to purchasing it. So it is very flexible. And yeah, it's available the minute you click download.
And the other thing that the hot off the press, and one of the reasons we're going to getting you on is we've now adding some extra additional letters to the VC4. Tell us about what we're doing with the Dell Compute and those packages that we're putting together.
Yeah, so it's a couple more letters and a number, right? So it's VC4 PC3, and really what that is, it's virtual control pre-installed on a Dell computer. Because even though, right, the IT departments kind of adopted VC4 ever since we started shipping it in 2018. The IT and AV convergence isn't always as far along with every customer, and some of our AV partners were like, "Oh man, I don't understand how to install Linux. That's just not my skill set," and they were kind of afraid of that. So by having it pre-installed on a Dell PC, we've taken care of that barrier to entry. Simply just buy the box, install it, and it is already Linux fully configured with authentication and encryption enabled, and VC4 fully configured for all the features, including simple debugging and X-panel connections and mobile connections. So we've even added something called Cockpit on top of it to make it so that if you need to change the IP address or the host name or the time zone on the box itself, you don't have to understand Linux. It's just click, change it. It's very easy without ever having to drop down to Linux command line prompts.
This guy again. There is this misconception. When I joined Crestron, there's this misconception that Crestron is complicated. You have to be a technical guru and programmer to be able to use any of our products. But what I'm hearing more and more about the new developments that we're making is simplicity, easy to deploy are the big watchwords that we're coming out and trying to change that misconception that we are easy, we are approachable, we're easy to deploy, simple to deploy. And again, from what I'm getting from you here with VC4 is you can get down and dirty in the weeds if you want to, if you want to be that hardcore techie programmer, but you do get that opportunity to have that next finish and you're done, from kind of what I'm getting.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, I'm a programmer by heart, so I will never, as long as I'm in charge of control, right? The programming community is there. They've helped us build this company and the deployments. However, there are more and more spaces where there isn't necessarily a budget for programming, and that's why all our control systems, 4 series as well as VC4, support AV framework, where you can just simply configure your room, next kind of installation, and you don't have to do any programming. But we will never abandon kind of that custom world that we started out in, and that that allows people to do some really cool applications that you wouldn't be able to do in a configuration kind of system.
Okay, cool. And what about training? Because again, we're saying this is really simple and really easy. So, does that mean there's no training, or is there some boot camp you got to go and sit in? How do people get up to speed on this platform and be able to deploy it and get it up and running quickly?
Right. So we have several training videos that are kind of self-paced that step you through installing Linux, installing VC4, configuring VC4, and programming VC4. So you really don't need to come to a class and sit and learn hardcore coding. Just follow the video along. And we also have what I think is insanely good documentation on how to install and configure VC4. We really made sure that every step of the way is documented in such a way that you can just follow along.
And obviously, this is, as we've mentioned, it's available today either in software, virtualized, or now on the Dell Compute, the Dell PC3. Where do we go next? Because clearly, this being virtualized, this being running on your network, do we envisage the kind of next step for this? We can't talk about roadmap and things like that, obviously, but can I tease out of you a few kind of trinkets and nuggets as to where you think or what your next plans are with regards to VC4 and where we take it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's some tactical things that we have to take care of right away and that we're working on actively, and that is, right now we require XIO Cloud connection to license VC4, right? And that is great, and it's awesome. It makes it very easy to do. However, there are several installations where AV gear just doesn't get access to the internet. So we're actively working on allowing you to license this in that scenario without needing that XIO Cloud requirement. And we are also documenting and providing scripts that will enable VC4 to provide something similar to the control subnet like the CP4N gives you, right? That dedicated network that is just for AV gear, that is hidden from the IT department on its own kind of private LAN. And you can do that today if you know what you're doing. But just because we want to make this easy, we're going to provide you with a couple of scripts that just enable that for you so that you can run the control subnet. And I know what you were hinting at, right? Like cloud is the big word. And so right now, right, in my presentations, when I talk about VC4, it is cloud compatible, but it is private cloud. Because in the end,
Right.
what is control? It's talking to devices on your network. And trust me, your IT department is not going to want to open up holes from an internet program to connect to every display. So right now, my recommendation is a private cloud where there is a VPN-like connection from VC4 to your corporate network so that it can connect to the display and turn it on and off whenever you want it. But I'm intrigued by the cloud, right? I just recently took over actually XR Cloud in my product management portfolio. So I would say wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That is definitely something I'm thinking about, how those two can integrate even better.
Very cool. Now, you were saying earlier, I think that there is a free or there is an evaluation of this. What can people do if they want to get a hold of VC4, have a play with it, get involved in it? You know, what's the best next steps other than going to Crestron.com and reading about it? What's the best way to get their hands on this?
So if you are able and willing to install Linux and just install it yourself, you can go to the VC4 room page on Crestron, download virtual control and install it. And it will run for 90 days without needing XR Cloud, without needing a paid license. And you can run all 500 rooms for 90 days just to give it a try. It's a great way for you to test if your code is working, right? We took a lot of effort porting simple Windows over to VC4 so it would run existing programs, and it's pretty darn good. Like QE did a lot of testing, and pretty much everything that they tested worked on VC4. But there's always this kind of edge cases that may need a small tweak, and for that the 90-day trial is there, right? So that you can just download it, tweak your code, and go like, hey, now it works with VC4 before you deploy it in production.
Fantastic, fantastic. Tuan, thank you ever so much for joining us on CresTV. I know that we're going to get you back for more stuff in the future.
Awesome.
But thank you for coming in, and thank you for updating us on everything to do with VC4.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for joining us on CresTV. VC4, the latest product coming out of the portfolio from Crestron, now bundled on the Dell Compute. Go and check it out on Crestron.com. As Tuan mentioned, there is that 90-day version. It's free. We like free. So go and check it out. Go download it. Go have a play for it yourself. While you're on the internet, make sure you subscribe to the Crestron YouTube channel. Join us here on CresTV regularly. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, do all the regular cool YouTube stuff. Tell your friends that CresTV is the place to be. And I will catch you, if not before, on the next one.